Day, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. How y'all doing? Huh? You good? Good. If you listen to radio, tune in today from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to listen to my show on 92.7 CFFF FM Trent Radio in beautiful Peterborough, Ontario. My show is called Warehouse of Strangers Radio, and you can tune it in using any FM radio application. Just type in Trent Radio CFFF FM 92.7. Take you right there. So we're gonna get a little dip here. Have a little chat before I go off to the radio. Tip Stokers. Oh yeah. All right. So it's good to see some people back. Oak Tree Dipper's back. How you doing, Oak Tree? And I guess Melvin Mandela has been dealing with some things in his life. He said shit's been weird, so I can relate with that. But he asked me a pretty big question. He said, "What is for me personally? What's the hardest thing about maintaining my sobriety?" Now, I did the math just the other day on how long it's been since I stopped drinking. And I guess it's been about 18 years. So
don't blink. Don't even blink. Blink and you're dead. They are fast, faster than you could believe. Don't turn your back. Don't look away and don't blink. Good luck.
Yeah, it's been about 18 years since I quit drinking. And I've had a couple, I will admit, I've had a few slip-ups, falls from grace, if you will. There's been a couple times where I've had a couple beers or a couple drinks. And there was one time when I kind of went on a bender for about a day and a half, 2 days, and that did some pretty serious damage to my mental health, because some things happened during that time. So now, and you also got to take into account that I smoke a hell of a lot of weed. I've smoked a hell of a lot of weed since since I was a teenager. I don't know. It helps me cope with things a lot. But it is also a substance that you can use or abuse, right? And you also got to take into account that I've been through a couple pretty serious opiate addictions and continue to be habituated to opiates. Whereas I'm not abusing them now, and not, I'm not abusing them, not taking too many of them, not buying any on the street, stuff like that. I used to do stuff like that. So yeah, sobriety, I'm quite heavily medicated now for a lot of reasons why I used to drink so much, I guess. So anyway, the biggest challenge in maintaining my sobriety is boredom. I spend a lot of time by myself. I spend a lot of time by myself working on stuff. and it's when I'm just sitting here alone, I get bored, or when I go out to a club to see a band play. It's fun and all. It's great. It's great seeing my friends. It's great seeing the bands. But there's that certain something lacking, right? I kind of want to have a bit of a buzz on, you know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, I guess that's the hardest part, is simply boredom. I've when I drank, I loved drinking. I absolutely loved drinking. I had a unconditional love for alcohol. No matter how bad it made me feel, no matter how bad it fucked up my life, no matter how many times I found myself lying in a fucking wherever with fucking piss pants, like I drank a lot, yeah, what's my point? It's just fucking boredom, you know. I have I don't like I have ADD, and that's one of the things I struggle with, and alcohol kind of just cooled that all out, like when I'm sitting here and I'm trying to focus on writing something and I'm setting out a linear plan in my mind for what I'm going to be doing. Even especially when it comes to making these videos. And then my ADD takes control and fucking scatters me everywhere. But when I drank, when I drank, it was mostly, it was a lot because I love drinking. I love the act of drinking. I love being with my friends, partying with my friends, getting drunk. I fucking loved it. But a lot of it was self-medication for certain things that I'm properly medicated for now. So, I was never a bad drunk. I was never when I had to quit drinking, and I'll get to that in a minute. People were upset because they liked drinking with me so much. you know. People. I used to go to the bar at last call, and or whenever I go to the bar, and people would fucking argue about sitting next to me, all in fun and everything, but just because, and my friend Dave, he was really fucking angry. He was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Out of all the people who have to quit drinking, it's gotta be you. Like, you're the only one who knows how to do it properly. I thought that was pretty funny. Now, I can tell you the reasons. Well, okay, I'll tell you the reason why I quit drinking. Because I didn't want to quit drinking. And I was kind of all in, I figured I'd die from it, and I pushed it pretty much that far. I started to have really bad pain in my body, pain I wasn't used to, that was very new, and it would seem to be on my deep inside me. If you'd seen my skin back when I drank, my skin was a nice hue of grayish yellow. I had big yellow bags under my eyes, and the whites of my eyes were half tinted yellow, and I looked sick, and I was. So I went to the hospital with my ex-wife Mithra, and yeah, and I'm very grateful that she was there because, in all honesty, if there wasn't a witness to the doctor saying what he told me, I don't know if I would have stopped, But anyhow, he sat me down, they did some blood. Well, they did some blood work on me, and then the doctor came in and he sat me down and he said, "Okay, Patrick, we're obviously dealing with a substance abuse issue right now. So I need you to be completely 100% honest with me. And how many drinks do you have a day, like standard size drinks?" And I said, "Probably 30." 25 to 35, I guess, would be a good barometer. And he said, "Okay, well, that's exactly what we thought. You right now have alcoholic hepatitis. Your liver's all blown up, covered in a fatty tissue." He said, which is very, very close to cirrhosis. There, you're very close to becoming cirrhotic. If you keep drinking like you do, if you keep drinking at all, I'm going to give you a year. If you keep drinking like you do, I'm going to give you less than a year to live. And if you keep drinking, like you're not going to live very long. So, I heard it. Mithra heard it, and so from that moment on, I quit drinking because I thought about, I sat and thought about it for a minute. And like I say, if Mithra wasn't there, I don't know if I would have thought about it so hard, because I would have just been by myself. I probably would have been, "Fuck you, doctor," and fucked off to the bar, But I decided in that moment that I would much rather live than drink. So I could always maybe drink later, And yeah, I've tested that theory a couple times, and quickly learned that it's a no-go, By the time I have my first drink, I've already talked myself into having the next 5. So, yeah, it's not good. Me and alcohol, we're old friends, but we're not allowed to hang out anymore, Now, I'll have to say, like, that was all very hard, and detoxing from alcohol was really, really hard, especially since I did it cold turkey, because I didn't trust the pharmaceutical industry or anything, I didn't like doctors, whatever the fuck, but, so I didn't take any medical, I didn't, like, I could have got some Valiums or something like that, but I just did it cold turkey, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, tearing my bed sheets apart, screaming. I'd wake up, I'd be like in my living room, I just had horrible detoxification things happen. Yeah, it wasn't fun, And now that I have children. Children give you a whole other outlook on life, right? I want to live for my kids. I want to be there for my kids. I want to. They give me something to live for. That's why I go so hard into the music. Because it gives me something to live for. Lots of reasons why I don't find it hard to maintain sobriety, Life has definitely improved a great deal since I quit drinking. I have to say that. I never thought I'd say that, but it's true. But I've had healthy coping mechanisms and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Like I say, I abused opiate medication for quite some time. I'm still habituated to opiate medication, but that's because I'm in chronic pain. I've been on Valium or Valium-like drugs for a dozen years now. and I still smoke a ton of Canadian cigarettes, you know what I mean? When I can, I can't always, but when I can, I do. So maybe a lot of that's been like replacement, filling the void. Whereas when I was drinking, I used to maybe smoke a couple joints a day. Now, then after I quit drinking, I'd smoke a dozen joints a day. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a long road. It's been a really long road. And I always question whether or not I am actually sober or not, just because I am medicated out the wazoo, but I do my best. And taking pills your doctor prescribes you, I guess that doesn't count for some reason. So there you go. But yeah, I'd have to say, Melman, probably the hardest part is boredom. Like all the times I think about when I drank extra heavy. I well, fuck, extra heavy. I drank extra heavy every day. But like, stuff like being on the road with a band, you'd just be drunk all the time. It'd be a total hoot, Maybe get into some white, traveling with the band, doing gigs in general. A lot of it is really like I used to sit and write at my typewriter, like and stuff for like 8 hours a day, and I always had a 6-pack cooling outside on my windowsill in the winter, and so I could have air chilled beer while I wrote, and I miss that, you know. Yeah, boredom has been my biggest enemy, or the feel that I need to be in a certain state of mind before I can do something. Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, I was deeply, heavily alcoholic for many long years, since my teens to I quit when I was 31. Had my first drink when I was like, I think I had my first big belt of scotch when I was like 13 years old. Never forget it. It was heaven. I tell you, heavenly. You always remember your first high, man. I remember the first time I got high on opiates too, and I'll tell you, like, opiates been a much harder journey than the alcohol was. Let me tell you that. Everything they tell you about dope addiction, it's true. It's true. Every single fucking second of it, and more. Never use needles, so. Never want. Well, never use needles. So, I used a needle once, but I didn't like it. So, and that was a long time ago, anyway. But yeah, so there you go. There's my big fucking chapter in my life spelled out in 17, 18 minutes. But yeah, that's what I find is my biggest enemy is like boredom, like anxiety-based boredom. Like when I'm too anxious to do anything, which is often the case. Like I freeze up and I just can't fucking do anything. A couple drinks would come in real handy then. When I'm afraid to leave my house, because of social anxiety problems I suffer. And that happens all the time. I spend days in the house here, making mission errands out to get supplies, where I'm eyes straight ahead, get to the store, buy what I need, get home as quick as possible. Social anxiety and anxiety disorder is no fucking joke, people. It's no fucking joke. So yeah, that's I'm gonna put that in there. Social anxiety, anxiety disorder, and general boredom are the hardest things to deal with. So anyhow, I hope this video was informative. Thank you, Melson Mandela, for your question. Sorry to be such a downer on the morning of radio day, but hey, when all's kind of said and done, I've been mostly sober for 18 years, and I love my life. And things that I've been looking up and up the last year, and I look forward to them continuing on an upward spiral. So yeah, that's all that can be said. So be well, everybody. Remember, you know, be careful. Be careful with what you do, because it may lead you to some very dark places.